Have you watched that Air movie about the making of the Air Jordans?
No, I haven't.
So I love where you're going with this of like arming people with the right questions,
Yeah.
right? There's this like really awesome scene in that movie where Matt Damon shows up to Michael Jordan's house, doesn't get a meeting with Jordan, but gets a meeting with his mother because he knows that his mother, played by Viola Davis, is the decision maker. And she's like, "Why should I go with you guys?" And he's like, "Listen, I'm not going to tell you why you should go with me, but you're going to take a meeting with Converse and you're going to take a meeting with Adidas," which back then it's funny for us to think about it because Nike is like the monster now. But back then Nike was like the young upstart. Converse and Adidas were the main things. It's like, here's the questions I want you to ask them.
Yeah.
Right. Ask Converse, what can they do for you specifically? And what they're going to tell you is that, well, nothing specifically. You just get to be a part of it. And if you think that you're special, like you're just a part of their stable. And if that's what you want, that's cool.
Sure.
Ask Adidas who's in charge.
Yeah.
Because they just had a change in ownership. And it's like all this like younger generation vying for it. And if you want to feel comfortable not knowing who to go to and infighting, that's what's going to happen. So just go ask those questions and then come talk to me. And that's how he got the meeting back. Right. So like, I love that, right? I get the sense that in these initial calls, folks that haven't interacted with the show that much, you get a bunch of people that probably have been offered a bunch of different deals and they're looking at different deals, and people don't have the same level of integrity in like the deal sheet and all the numbers, and they definitely don't have the same level of proprietary data.
Right. Exactly.
And where they're getting it from. So I imagine that it's probably not going to sit well if someone shows up and is like, "But I have this deal." And you're like, "Well, that's not true."
Right. Exactly.
Instead, it's like, "Hey, let me ask you something. Ask somebody this to let them identify that to then get people comfortable with it." Yeah. So again, Kate keeps referencing this like first call, and we are talking about like what your first call with JWB would be like. So if you want to get armed with these questions, if you have questions of your own and you want to start going through this process, that's what going to chatwithjwb.com and picking a time to talk to the JWB team. This is essentially what it feels like, right? It's a series of questions to kind of like understand if this asset class is good for you, if the Jacksonville market's good for you, if the JWB experience is good for you. And here's a bunch of questions for you to ask everybody else so that you're able to compare apples to apples.